Hi, today I'm going to discuss the process of enculturation and acculturation that's found in chapter 4. Acculturation is the process of acquiring a culture because it is not your own culture, because you're from another place and you're a refugee or you are an immigrant. That's acculturation, acquiring. And enculturation is the process of learning your own culture, the subtleties of your own culture because of your proximity to it. So your own culture, your subculture, the ethnic culture, that's all part of enculturation. And think about acculturation for a moment. If you've moved from another culture, it takes a long time for you to acquire the culture. How fast you acquire the culture depends on various factors. And think about the Hofstadter charts that you just looked at last week. And what if the cultural values that you have to adopt in the new culture are vastly different from your own culture? Is that going to affect how you adopt and how you acquire the culture, how you acclimate to the new culture? And what if the culture is, the immigrant is from a highly collectivist culture and they have to come into an individualistic culture, or vice versa? What if the individualistic person, the person from an individualistic culture, has to move to a collectivist culture? That process also is very, very difficult and long. And what if the understanding is of power distance, for example, is very different? So for some people especially, this is going to be a hard and very, very long road. Enculturation, on the other hand, this is what I call it's in the water. We learn these things because it's just around us and it's there all the time. And there's not a lot of effort that you have to make to learn these things. You learn as you experience. I can see that in my own kids growing up in America. They know things about American culture that didn't come from me. For example, they have this very strong, fierce, independent streak that they've displayed from a very, very young age. And and that independence is something that in American culture is very, very encouraged. And I can see that difference, especially when I compare them to my cousin's kids or kids from our relative side from India. So what does this mean for you, this process? How do you think about it? Now in your future careers, or even now, for some of you, you will face people who are at various stages of the acculturation process. Not only that, you're also going to meet a lot of people who've experienced enculturation very, very differently from you. So even if you grew up in the same area, because the family culture is very different or the subculture is very different, you would process enculturation very differently also. So this is when you have to think about some of the concepts and skills that you can acquire in this class that you'll find very helpful. The being flexible, for example, or being open to ambiguity. Those are some traits that could really help.